Speak your truth. We have with us the man himself, David Nurse. David, how are you doing?
Doing great. I mean, right
Good,
now we're
man.
all in this crisis of this corona, but I mean, we're both here, alive, talking, doing great.
Yes, man. Very thankful to have you on here. I already told you that, but man, when you responded, I was so grateful. I was sitting on the bus on my way to a job interview, and I get these emails from a real estate agent out in LA because I really want to move out there. So that's like my motivation.
Get on out
Um,
here.
Man, I'm trying, David. I'm really trying, man. So you guys have the same initials. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, whatever. Like it's just him. I'll look at those later. And I looked again. And I was like, wait, that's David. So like my eyes got so big, and I was on the bus like freaking out. So thank you so much again. I really appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. We need to get you out
Um,
to LA. Other than today, though, it's actually raining. It's kind of like the end of the world. Raining and coronavirus. What?
I'm saying
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
it's all bad, man. It is all NBA's canceled. March Madness is canceled. What else can they cancel at this point, man? No
For
toilet
everything.
paper at the store either. None.
That's true. That's true. My wife just went to the store and we loaded up for Armageddon. We got enough food for till next Thanksgiving.
Good. You still have your Christmas tree up?
Oh yeah,
Then that's perfect. Leave it up, man.
that's another mindset right there. It's always Christmas. I mean, what?
For
Yeah,
real. You can't go anywhere anyway. Just let it be Christmas all the time.
very
Man, so
true.
David, I read an article from 2016. So I don't know if this is still true, but it said that you hold 4 world records. One for the most college threes made in 1 minute, most NBA threes in a minute, most consecutive threes in 45 seconds, and the most threes in 5 minutes. I'm never going to shoot around you. You're forever in the same gym. I just want you to know that you are not critiquing me. Oh my God. Man, I want to see you shoot, bro. Seriously.
Hey, look it up. You can search it on Google, ESPN put a thing out about it. That's all I had though. I mean, that's all I could do. I knew my strengths, so I just went to my strengths and who knows if those records are still hold. Even if somebody breaks them, I'm not gonna watch them break the records. I want to think that I'll have those for all the time,
For
but
real, tell
no,
the
but
kids,
no.
man.
Shoot, you would teach me a thing or two. You played at a super high level.
Yeah, I might be able to teach you a little something, something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Get
you
in the
know
gym
what?
sometime.
For real, man. When I get to LA, we are in there. Trust me.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is like I'm 27 now. I graduated from UK 6 years ago now. And I'm just now realizing like the level that I was playing on and these people that I were playing with. I went to school with some of the top NBA players, like witnessing them playing in person. And that's part of like why I started this podcast was to have more athletes talk about their experiences. And man, yeah, so we're gonna get into that part later. But you
Definitely.
you talked about playing to your strengths. How
Yep.
important is that as a player in any sport, as well as a person once you're done with your athletic career?
It's a great question. So I think it's very important that we play to our strengths. We all have gifts. We all have strengths for weaknesses or strengths for a purpose. And too many times we're told that we are our weaknesses and we have to raise our weaknesses. But those gifts that we're given, God-given gifts, are our strengths that we're able to put together with other people's strengths to make
Mm,
what I call compliments wish list. Because that's what makes the ultimate team where we all use our strengths. And through
yes.
working with players in the NBA for over the past 10 years, like I've realized you can be good at every area and you're probably not playing in the NBA, but you can be
Mm-hmm.
great in one area, just great in it. You can have a long, long career. Like for one player that I've worked with and actually grew up with him in the same town in Iowa, Kyle Korver is a great example of
Mm-hmm.
that. He knows what he does really well. He shoots the ball at a very high level, and we really don't work on anything else. And he's been able to play.
Man,
He's 38 years old, and he's still playing, and can probably
for
play in a couple
real.
more years. So
Man,
it's
that's
just,
my man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we all have these strengths to use these strengths. Why spend so much time focusing on our weaknesses when they're only going to be able to get to average and maybe a little bit above average, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we're striving for.
Have you had any players that didn't necessarily want to focus on just one thing? They wanted to be that complete player, but you had to like kind of break it down to them like, that's great, but you need to really, really focus on this because this is what's going to like be your bread and butter?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of players will want to have that full complete package because they'll see the LeBrons, they'll see those guys and that's a very rare few that can be great in a lot of different areas. So with players like that, we'll make sure that, hey, what's your bread and butter that's going to get you on the floor? That's what we're going to focus on, and we're going to make sure that you're the best that you can be at that. But in the process, over the years in the off seasons, we'll continue to add pieces to your toolbox. So like
Mm-hmm.
you will be great. We'll make sure you're great in one area, but we'll continue to add pieces here and there, and who knows? Some of those guys can become great in a couple areas. Like you look at Kawhi Leonard. I haven't worked with him. My uncle coached him last year in Toronto, but he's the example of that. He was a defender, an athlete, and he worked on shooting, became a better one-on-one isolation player, and he's become one of the greatest players in the world. So you can
Yes.
add those pieces, but make sure you stay focused on your strengths, or your time on the floor is not going to be there at all.
Exactly. That's so true, man. I can definitely relate that to my own experience. And I try to talk about my experience as well to be open about it and try to help people as well. And I was like good at a lot of things. I could dribble, I could shoot, I could post up, I could play defense, I could rebound, but I never had that one thing, rebounding. But other than that, like my coaches, my dad would get on me like, you need to get your 15-footer down. You need to get your 3-point down. And I was like, for what? Like, no, I can shoot. It's okay. Like, it'll always be there. But no, when you stop working on something, it does not get better. It
Yeah.
can and probably will get worse. And I just didn't want to listen. So I hope that that majority of those players are listening, because I know all of them don't. That's just how it is. But I hope that they are listening to David, the
Yeah. Yeah.
shooting doctor, man. And so speaking of, I read that you felt limited in your title as an NBA shooting coach. Why was that, and what inspired you to become more than a shooting coach?
Yeah. So a shooting coach, you just think specifically when you think about that, the connotation is shooting. What are you doing? Just helping form, or just strictly shooting. So it's pretty limiting for a player to just be shooting. There's so much more that goes into it. And even with shooting itself, 90% of shooting is mental as it is. So
Mm-hmm.
through the years, I've grown from focusing on just shooting development to overall on-court player development, and then realizing over the past 3 to 4 years that the most important thing that puts that all together is the mindset development. Because without the core
Exactly.
and the basis of the mindset, without having the drive, without having the relentless consistency, without having that structure, that foundation, none of the other stuff even matters. So
Mm-hmm.
looking back on it, yeah, it was a great foot in the door as a shooting coach, but it's long term, and actually what grows great players overall is limiting if you just throw it in a box of shooting coach.
Very true. That is very true. I love that. And I love how passionate you are about continuing to like build and achieve and find other things to do and other ways to help people.
Thank
That's
you.
so inspiring. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
That's so inspiring and motivating. And as a former athlete, like that was something that really took a toll on me after I retired, because I was like, okay, I want to be a fashion designer, but like, how am I going to do that? I don't even know how to make a resume and apply for a job. So like, how am I going to do this? And just felt super lost and feeling like I was always going to be just an athlete. So I boxed myself in as, okay, I'm going to be a
Yep.
basketball coach and a trainer and do this. And I had someone challenge me and say, like, why do you want to do this? Is it because your friends are doing it? Is it because you used to play
Nice.
basketball? You don't
Yeah.
know what else to do? And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, snap. I don't know. And from then on, I've been finding my way. And I love that about people when they wear many hats and don't allow other people or even themselves to just box them into one thing or one category.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Thank you.
You hit on a very important point of a lot of people will do what others expect for them, what the world expects for them. If they're labeled something, that's what they have to be. And And you had to battle with that. I've had to battle with that. We've all had to battle with it, but a lot of people will give in to that. Like, oh, what your parents say you have to be, and then you do it. But you're cutting yourself short of what your true potential is, and listening to yourself. And that's one big thing I talk about when I talk to companies is you have the power of choice. That is your superhero power that you wake up with every morning, and you get to choose who you're going to be. You don't have the world choose for you, but it's the self-fulfilling thoughts and the affirmations that you give to yourself, the self-talk. Because who's the person that we talk to most throughout the day by far?
Me, myself, and I, man.
Exactly, by far. So the question is, what are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself negative thoughts that you can't do something, or you have to be this, what the world says? Or are you feeding yourself the positive thoughts through your dreams, through your aspirations, and that's who you become? So
exactly.
Yeah, it's such a great point you brought up.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I wouldn't even be in Chicago if it wasn't for me listening to my parents or to other people telling me I should coach and I should teach, I should train, I should move to Chicago because it's cheaper than LA, and it's not too far because I'm from Ohio. Or you should do this, you should do that. I wouldn't even be in Chicago. I love Chicago. Do not get me wrong. It has changed me and like made me a much stronger person. And definitely has led me to, I think, really, truly walking in my purpose. But it's an example of like how things can go so much harder for you when you don't listen to yourself and trust your gut and follow your dreams. And when you live for other people, you become those other people, and you're going to constantly be in a battle with yourself and who and what you really are and those people, you know? And that really, I mean, I went to therapy, and shout out to my therapist. I love her like an auntie. And I remember like I was talking to her about like still getting advice from my former coaches. And she was like, like you don't have to ask anybody for permission to do anything or like ask them, should you do something? You can just do it. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I looked at her so crazy, and I have been coached and trained for 22 years pretty much. My dad had me working out like a pro when I was 5, man, like outside two balling in the snow. He bought me a snowsuit specifically so I could dribble in the wintertime. Yes.
Respect. So, I used to do the same in Iowa, the cold winters in Iowa. I feel you.
Yes, man. That's why you're my bro. I'm telling you, man, I love it. I love it. Yeah. And and I'm thankful for that because it made me such a hard worker. Like nothing is going to stop me from achieving what I want to achieve. I'm such a big believer in following your dreams. And it is very hard to break away from opinions and thoughts, especially when you are a former athlete, because you have had the spotlight on you and these people expect certain things from you. And maybe that's not what you want to do anymore. And it can be a constant battle, but I know for a fact once I started letting go of certain people and certain limiting beliefs, then man, like my life just changed so much. And I have so much peace and joy in my life knowing that I'm living first of all for God and for myself, and just walking in the purpose that he designed for me. And it feels so good. So good. But yeah,
I got so much respect for you. Like that is.
Thank you.
You're 27 and you have that outlook. I mean, it's amazing, and that's what I try to do at the core of everything too. Is be a light of Jesus, be a light of God. Like He's absolutely blessed me with everything that I have, blessed us with all that we have, and like to say that anything is of our doing is just totally wrong.
Man.
So,
seriously.
I have a ton of admiration and respect for you being the light that you are.
Thank you, man. I say the same about you. Every time I get on your Instagram and everything you say, it's like, man, how does he wake up so happy every morning? Like every time you make a video, like your face is shining, you're glowing, you're so happy, you're smiling, the way you uplift other people. Like I'm telling you, I've been following you for maybe a couple months, and I listened to your podcast, 2 or 3 of your episodes, and like now I'm like this nice, happy, uplifting, joyful person. Like not that I always haven't been, but like just I sound like David Nurse. I'm telling you, man, you are an inspiration.
That's so sweet. Yeah, that's flattering. Thank you very much.
For real. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how people just don't get excited about life, get excited about the day. Like everything's already taken care of. I mean, we got God, everything's already taken care of. It's just and we get to go have an impact on people. Like why do things that you don't enjoy doing, or why do things that don't have any purpose? It's just life is just too short for that.
Exactly, man. One of many things my father taught me was that why complain because it's not going to do anything anyway. So I
Yeah.
just translated that to worrying, being anxious, anything like that, because I'm going to ruin the situation before it even happens. And just like you said, it's going to happen anyway. It's already taken care of. And also, I would have been taught to look at it as if I get rejected from anything, that it's redirection. It's really a blessing. So just be thankful, even though that's a hard thing to accept and understand. Like, it has been true to form thus far. So definitely thankful for the things that haven't gone right as well.
Wow, you had a great father. Sounds like he is just
Yes.
a wise guy. That's cool.
He is, man. That's my old man. He is a very wise old man. And he could have been anything. But I hope that he does and doesn't hear this. But I know that he has struggled, or maybe still does struggle, with anxiety and depression, which made me want to deal with my shit even more, because I didn't want to go through what my parents went through and repeat this cycle, because I know that it's also very prevalent in communities of color, just because of the other things that we go through in society. And I wanted to be the one to change that, and to inspire other people to change. And living here in Chicago, being from Ohio, you know what it's like in Iowa. There's nothing there. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
Like, for the longest time, we were the only Black family. I think until I was in like first or second grade. And so yeah, it's very different for me being here in the city where there's so many different people. And then to see what it's like for Black people and how segregated this city still is. Like, pretty much all Black people live on the south side or the west side, which is pretty typical. And it's very, very sad to see. So like for today, I met another awesome little guy named David. He's 10. And
Nice.
I met him on the train today, and he's homeless. And I'm gonna try not to get emotional.
Dang.
I've been crying since I met the guy. And
Oh,
he's the sweetest little guy on earth. And seeing stuff like that, like, I want to move to LA, but it's like, damn, like, I can't leave because these people, like, they need me. I have lived a very privileged life that these people don't even know exists. So if they don't ever see it, or somebody doesn't tell them, like, hey, like, you can do this instead of standing on the corner and selling weed all day. Like, there's other things out here than violence and being mean to people, like you said, just walking around angry all the time. Like, there's a whole life out here. And the lake is maybe about 30 minutes from here, driving 20 minutes. And some of the adults haven't even been there, like on this another side of town. So just having the experience I have, like, I am learning I can't just keep it to myself. I have to give it away. So
so good.
he really inspired me, man, and just made my heart even more full and much bigger. And I wanted to, like, take him with me and adopt him right then and there. But just and what made the experience even better for me, because I gave him like everything in my book bag pretty much. But he took out a pair of shoes when he saw another kid get on a baby get on the train, and he had some of his little brother's old shoes that he couldn't fit anymore, and he gave the mom the shoes for the baby. And that broke me down more than anything, because for him to be that young, to be in that situation and still want to give, like, it just made me realize how shitty we are as adults, pretty much. And I just pray for him and all the kids, because I've been kind of expecting to see it, but I had never seen that before, or knowingly anyway. And I just want to help all the babies, man. But it's life is much bigger than a lot of the things that we complain about, especially when there's children out here with no home and no food. So yeah, that's why I don't complain anymore or worry anymore.
That's an unbelievable answer right there. I mean, that's geez.
Man.
Anybody listening to your podcast, they got to follow you and just look up to everything you do, because that's spot on.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Back on topic. What have you learned from about the mental side, working with these elite athletes?
Well, I've learned a lot, to be honest with you. And I've learned a lot from how mentally strong some of them are and how mentally weak
Yes.
some of them are, and tried to figure out how to help them become the most confident, what I call developing unshakable confidence. And
Okay.
what that means is not necessarily like being confident in the egotistical form or the swagger form, but confident in through their preparation. Have they put in the work? Have they put in the relentless consistency hours when there's nobody in the gym, the lights aren't on? Like, have they done that? Have they built the
Mm-hmm.
foundation and those type of fundamentals that they can go on the court every night and be confident? Have they are they able to are they able to look at each situation, whether it's a hard, tough situation, a struggle, or a good one, and be able to, okay, something good is going to come from this? Because a lot of players will fluctuate with their performance. So it's the mindset of divorcing yourself from the thought of stats and judging yourself on the performance basis, by instead judging yourself on the process basis.
Mm-hmm.
Are you putting in the correct work? Are you getting the great shots that you're the best at in the game? And you can rest in that, and you don't have to worry if shots go in and out. If you're getting those great shots, that's to draw the confidence in. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember Kobe's rookie year when he airballed a bunch of shots in the playoffs, and everybody was just going crazy on him. And he said, "I'm glad that this happened. This is something that's going to make me grow." So this like 18-year-old kid who could have just looked like the world had ended because he let the Lakers down, he looked at this as a positive to grow from it. So
Exactly.
I mean, the mind is a very, very complicated thing, but at the core of it, it all comes down to, do we believe in ourselves? And even for these high level NBA players, the basis of what I do all revolves around, how can I help them get the most self confidence in them, so they're so confident in themselves that the rest of their teammates can look to that confidence. It's infectious to the rest of their teammates. So it's all about pouring into yourself so you
Mm-hmm.
can pour into others. And that's what I
Exactly.
call the 1%ers, the 1%. And it's what my NBA players have kind of picked up as their term that they like. And it's yeah, that's what being a 1%er is about.
For real. I love that. I really love that. Can you touch on, well, let me ask you this. Do you believe that failure is a learning opportunity or should be looked at as one?
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely. I
And
mean,
why is that?
it's that's the way to that you can best learn. If you find something
Mm-hmm.
that didn't work out the way that you thought it might, then you just know different ways to do it. You're gonna try something different. Thomas
Yes.
Edison, what was it, 10,000 times or 1,000 times something that he failed in
Man, something
creating
crazy.
electricity, and then he said, you know what, I didn't fail. I learned 999 ways not to do it. So it's
Exactly.
yeah, it's just the perspective that you look at
Mm-hmm.
things, and life is comes down to perspective of how you look at things. Do you look at, like, even this coronavirus, do you look at it as like, oh, it's the end of the world, it's the worst thing that's ever happened? Or do you look at it as like,
Exactly.
hey, I get more time to spend with my family, I get to slow down, take a breath,
Mm-hmm.
realize how important health is, washing your hands. Like, there's a lot of, everything comes down to perspective.
Very true. That's so true. That's so important for me, and I think too, like you said, pouring into other people. My brother, he's 14. Oh my God, he'll be 15 next week, and I like failing and learning and figuring things out so that I can teach him so that he doesn't have to go through the same BS that I've been through or am currently going through. And that's how I look at it. Like, okay, well, like you said, if I can't do it this way, then there's another way, and there's another way, and there's another way. But I have a motive because I want to, first of all,
Yeah.
have a better life for myself and my family, and then my brother. Like, I know that he's counting on me to do something so that he has somebody to
Yeah.
look up to, man. And that's what keeps me going. And that's something else I wanted to talk to you about. Is I'm sure that is why you can get up every morning the way that you do
Yep.
and go to bed
Yep.
every night and sleep good at night, because you have a why. So could you tell
Yep.
us your why?
I think at the core, I mean, my why and most motivated people's why for the right purpose is that they can serve others, that they can help others find their encouragement, find their joy, find who they were made to be. And that is my why. Like there's a lot of different subcontracts of what that why would be, but it's at the core to help people reach their potential. Like these God-given gifts that we were given, we're either going to cover them up because other people have said that we can't reach our dreams or our goals, or we're going to let them shine. And most people will cover them up. So my why is, how can I help as many people show their lights that they've been given? And in doing so, that changes their life. And then in doing so in that, they want to go change somebody else's life. So it's a compounding effect. If you change one person's life, they can change somebody else's, and another. You might have just changed 1 million people's lives. But like to me, that's what leaving a legacy is. It doesn't matter if people record it. Like I say, legacy is the stat that doesn't show up in the box score, but it's the most important stat that there is.
Yes, that is so true. That's deep, man. That's a quote right there. That is a quote.
There it is. That is actually my quote. That's like, you know how there's always those quotes that people take and stuff. Put that down, David Nurse. That is my quote. It's always been my life goal to have somebody quote me. So if you want to quote that'd be amazing.
Oh, I got you. I'm listening to this right after, so I'm going to write that down word for word. I'm going to rewind it 3 times to make sure I got it right.
There
that is a David Nurse quote, man.
Put it up on Twitter so it's alive out there.
I got you. I definitely got you, man. So I know we talked about like limiting yourself in your title, and you realizing like you couldn't at that point just be a shooting coach. Can you touch on the journey, so to speak, and how it's typically much different than what you imagined or set out for it to be?
How setting out for that journey has now become different is in where I'm at now in my life, or how I saw it at that time?
Like, how did you ever see yourself being an NBA life optimization coach to where you're coaching these players like on their all around life and helping them? Or did you just always see yourself being a shooting coach? Did you even think you'd be around basketball at all at this point?
You know what? I knew I'd always be around basketball. It was in my blood. Like my whole life was based around playing in the NBA. But when you realize, like I said, too short, slow, and unathletic to keep going at a high level, like, my pivot in life was realizing that I was a better coach and working with some of my friends who had played in the NBA. That's where I realized it. And I never really sat down and was like, okay, this is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be an NBA head coach. I just loved the process, and I just loved doing. I just loved doing daily, working with players. So whatever opportunity came up, like I would jump on it. I ran basketball camps in over 50 countries for 5 years straight, living out of an airplane in a car.
Wow, man!
And I absolutely loved it. I was in situations that I probably should not be alive from, but hey, I loved it. And then I got to coach in the NBA with the Brooklyn Nets, and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. And then I started working with players individually on a whole total optimization. I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. It's just, I think different seasons in our lives, different seasons in my life. And I know I'm having a positive impact on people, and whatever that leads to, whether it is down the road being an NBA head coach, or if it's what I'm pursuing even more now is speaking at events, motivating, encouraging company events, and doing more than just the basketball world itself.
Exactly. I think the world is ready for either, David Nurse, and we can take both for sure. So you pick, or do both at the same time. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm doing this and also trying to build like a one day multi-million or billion-dollar clothing line at the same time. So we can do it all, man.
I totally agree. Yeah. Don't have to be in just one funnel, but that's great.
Yeah, for sure, man. So let me see. Your dad, I don't know exactly what kind of business he owned, but he's a business owner. And then your uncle is the coach for the Raptors. How did that set the tone for you to be you?
That's a great question. I've actually never got that question, so very good one.
Thank
you. My father basically built his own business, his own Windows sales company business, and he just, like, I saw the grind that he put on. I saw the relentless work that he put in. So I think that instilled a lot of work ethic in myself and saw that, hey, if you put your mind to something and you speak it into existence, you can really do it. So he's been an absolute rock for me and a great father and mentor. And same for my uncle. He was in the basketball world, and I always looked up to him. He was my role model, and he just took me under his wing and taught me everything I know. And then I mean, I also saw through him is people will see that he wins the NBA title in his first year as NBA, as a head coach, and like, oh wow, we caught fire. You got the right, lucky guy. You know what? He's been preparing for that for 27 years. He's been coaching over in
Yes.
England in places where he's popping the popcorn and he's turning on the lights and taping ankles. Like, people don't see all of
Man.
that, but I saw every step of his process to get there and how hard he worked and how just like committed to the job at hand. He wasn't looking too
Hmm.
far forward to the future, which a lot of us will do. We'll be in a job that we don't necessarily want, and we'll be
Hmm.
like, "Oh man, when I get out of here, if I get out of here, this is when I'll do it. This is when I'll work hard." But if you do the best you can in the situation you're given, those other opportunities will come. And that's what Nick did so well. And he always, what I call it is preparing for opportunity. Everything we do in life is a preparation for an opportunity to come. It might not come in the
Yes.
exact way that we think it is. It won't come the exact time that we think it will, but it will eventually come. And then the question is going to be, are you prepared? Did you prepare for it? And Nick did. And Nick has been paying off the benefits of those 27 years. So it's not even 10 years, not 10 years to become an overnight success. It's 27 years to become
Man.
an overnight success.
My whole lifetime. Man.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's amazing though, and I love that, and that's another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want my kids to be able to see me work hard and see me work for myself, not go to work for anybody else for 8 to 12 hours to still struggle like my parents did. And I saw my father not work because he had a criminal record, and so he couldn't get certain jobs, and that really discouraged him from applying at all. So it's really easy for me to procrastinate and be lazy because I've heard them say, "Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this," and they don't ever do it. And so my inspiration had to honestly come from myself and say, okay, I went to UConn and Kentucky. Like, I didn't get there by mistake. I played basketball overseas and survived those 4 years. So I didn't get there by mistake. So what did I do then to motivate myself to get up every day to make sure that I was making my dreams come true? And now it's so much easier for me to just motivate myself. And if I'm going to use them as motivation, like, just, I love them to death, but just to not be like them when it comes to um goals. Like, I'm not going to set them and not, like, I told myself I'm not going to write these goals down and then not go try to do it, or just do it,
Yeah.
because I've done it
Yep.
before, so that means I can do it again. And so yeah,
Yep.
that's why I always admire other families who did what they were supposed to do. But I, again, also have to look at it from a different perspective, being African American. But I still, there's no excuses to me, because there were slaves who turned into millionaires. So there's just no excuses.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Great
it's all
point.
choice. But yeah, so I absolutely love that. I think that's so cool. Your kids, man, they got a lot to live up to. The whole nurse, the nurse kids, everybody's kids, man, they have a lot to live up to.
Nah, they'll be who they are, who they were made to be, and
Yes,
that's
they're gonna be
that's.
awesome.
Thank
Scary
you.
awesome.
You're so
Yes.
sweet.
Thank you.
I need to
Um,
talk to you every day. You motivate me. You juice me up.
let's,
We gotta do
man.
these every day,
I'm down. Yes,
please.
you have my number. I'm totally down, man. I'm serious, because I need that. I would absolutely love that. Every other day, every other week, whenever you want to shoot me a text or call, I'm down. But I know
Okay.
you're busy. I'm always around.
Okay.
Um, so these last few questions for you. Um, you've been talking about your wife, actually. Can you talk about your wife, how awesome she's been for you? And she's an actress. Like, that's so cool. You guys are awesome. Okay, anyway. And then also your faith.
Yes.
Your
Great
faith
questions.
really, thank you. Your faith is awesome. I love it. You have no issue with exemplifying it and shouting God out every day. I absolutely love and admire that. I know a lot of people struggle with that, especially nowadays. For whatever reason, we do not talk about God or Jesus or anything like that anymore. So if you don't mind just talking about all of that and how that's been very important for you in your life?
Well, I've been on a lot of podcasts over the years, and those two questions are my favorite questions that I have ever gotten. Right
Oh
there,
man, thank
I
you.
promise.
Thank
If I get
you.
to talk about my wife and talk about Jesus, that's the best. All right, so I'll
That is
start off with my
awesome,
wife.
man.
My wife is my absolute rock. Like, she is the most amazing person that I've ever met. I'm not saying that out of any bias just because she's my wife, but it's like she makes me better every day. She brings me closer to Jesus every day. She is my encourager. Like, even when I was starting off in the speaking world, and she'd be up at 5 a.m. just pumping me up before I went to give my talk. And she's just like,
Man, that's awesome.
yeah, and it's just my best friend, and someone that I can be around and just enjoy life together with. And seeing her, what she goes through in the acting world, how difficult that is to put so much preparation into something and auditioning for a role, and then you might not ever never hear back if you get it or not. And it's like, you just,
Exactly.
the constant rejection that you get, but how positive she stays throughout it and optimistic and continuing to work her butt off is inspiration to me. So it's, yeah,
That is
literally
amazing.
my much better half.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
And then with the question with Jesus, it's like, that is why we are here. It literally is.
Hmm.
And whether you believe in Jesus or not, you know that there's something deeper. There's something more out there, and just what everything keeps coming back to. And it's crazy how a lot of people will disregard Jesus as just being a public figure or something. And these
Yes.
these these literally historical events were recorded by multiple times. Like, I think there was something where Julius Caesar was recorded like 13 times, but Jesus was recorded
Mm.
thousands of times. Like, what more do
Wow.
you really want? People want to play it off, but anyways, that's where
For
I
real.
get. I mean, I can go on about that, but that's where I get my ultimate joy. Like, literally, the
Yes.
joy of knowing that Jesus, God, has everything already in a plan for me, looking out for me, and that I don't have to do this life on my own. It gives me a great sense of peace just to enjoy the day. Like, everything's already been won. It's already been decided. Like, I don't have to live in the ups and downs. I don't have to live in the world's view of success. Like, I have Jesus in my life. And I mean, it's just being able to work with high level NBA players, or have an influence on them and other people with a lot of influence, is what, like, I really love doing, because I know they have a much bigger platform, and if I can keep spreading Jesus to them and they can spread it to others, this world's just going to be a much better place.
Very true, man. That is so true. I've tried so many times to live my life without God, without Jesus, without acknowledging Jesus,
Yeah.
just trying to acknowledge God and like, no, Jesus can't exist, listening to other people or other people's theories and things like that. And I'll never forget what I call the first time I really met Jesus. And I was alone in my apartment, and like I just felt so lost and empty. Like I just could have just died at that moment. Just I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get up. Like physically, I could not move, and I didn't want to. And I just remember like hearing something say like, "It's okay. I love you. It's okay." And I'm like, "What the?" Like I'm looking around, like who is here? Like am I
Wow.
hearing stuff? I'm really going crazy right now. And I got in the shower, and I saw the number 400. It was my hair, but it was like the number 400. And I looked up what it meant. And it basically meant that like your guardian angel is, or Jesus is close to you. And I was like, man, like this all can't like, be fake or whatever. So just since then, like I've been really into like just really diving deeper into my spirituality and what all that could mean and be. And it's been a much better, happier experience for me.
Yep.
And just living for, like I said, just for Jesus and myself, and remembering that's what it's all about. It's not about other people's opinions or their negativity, their limiting beliefs on themselves or you. And the most important thing that we could do is, especially, and I've struggled with this because I sometimes feel like it's like, um, I don't know, kind of being not humble, but like just celebrating my accomplishments with other people or tweeting about it, putting it on Instagram. But it's like you said, we can't do any of this without Jesus. So we have to credit him and glorify him in front of other people to know that, or to help them understand, like, that's where your blessings come from too. And like you said, just keep spreading that word. And it's, that's something I really want to do as well, is continue to spread the word that's been so transformative in my life.
Cool.
And I know in others as well. Yes.
So thank you. Thank you so much for that. You're an awesome light. Like that's what the world needs. They need more of you for sure.
Thank you. They need more of us, David. We got this. Seriously, we got to figure out something to do together. Seriously.
It would be an absolute honor.
I keep talking about. Thank you. Same. I keep talking about and praying for LA, so I know it's coming. So when I pray for something, especially when I really believe it and it's for the right reasons, I know it's going to happen. So, and manifestation is certainly real. So yes, I got 5 last questions for you. Okay. They should be super fast.
Rapid fire, hot seat. I love it.
Let's get it. Favorite food?
Favorite food. Wow. That is a tough question, but here it goes. Favorite meal I've ever had. Favorite meal I've ever had is Kobe beef in Kobe, Japan. The real deal in Kobe, Japan. So I just like to say that so I sound like this big foodie. But favorite food, just like that I'd eat normally, like I'll be honest, it's my wife's roasted Brussels sprouts. They're unbelievable.
That actually sounds really good. That sounds really good. Very healthy.
Tonight. She's gonna make them tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh man, that sounds so good. When we move to LA, I'm over there.
We got you on the secret recipe.
Thank you, man. Favorite book?
Favorite book is Essentialism. Yeah, Essentialism. I mean, obviously the Bible's my favorite book, but other than the Bible's Essentialism by Greg McKeown. I've read it like 5 times. Nice. It's a beautiful. It's just the most powerful book on just how important saying no is and just figuring out what your essential things of life are. Yes. It's a great one. I'll just spit out some other ones. Energy Bus by John Gordon. He's a very good friend of mine. Book. Very good friend of mine. He's basically my mentor, and he's just nice. Just such a good book. I mean, there's a lot of them out. My friend Max Lukavere has a book, Genius Foods and Genius Lifestyle. So if you're looking at nutrition, that's the best book there is for that. I'll stop at 3. I'll just give you 3.
Okay. Right? Yeah, I want to get Max on the podcast, man, and talk about like nutrition and just how it relates to athletes and their overall wellness. So I'm going to keep like emailing him and texting him like crazy. Or just
he's a pretty busy guy right now.
I see that. I signed up to his like community text number, and I was like, I know you're like on Dr. Oz and all, but I just wanted to extend this invite anyway.
There you go.
So I'll wait my turn. I will definitely wait my turn. Your most transformative life experience thus far, and why?
I guess it would be when I realized that my gift was to coach instead of play, because that kind of pivoted my whole mindset and led me down on the path that I'm on today. So I would say, that transformative of thinking how hard it was to not be able to play anymore, but realizing that all I'd been preparing for was actually to coach.
Nice. That's a great, man. Acceptance. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. So I had a really hard time writing this question, so I hope when I ask it, it makes sense. Where have you traveled that has taught you the most, or has been like the most enlightening for you?
That's a really good question. Very good question. And the answer to that for sure is Uganda and Kenya. When I went to Uganda and Kenya and I put on some basketball camps down there, to see people who have absolutely nothing but have ultimate joy, the most joyous people I've ever been around, was just like absolutely life-changing. They're the nicest people I've ever been around, and it's that has had the most impact on me. And the food down there was great too. Like, people don't know. Food is really good.
I love food too, man, especially traveling, because the food is so different from here, and it's authentic too. I love it. Yes. And then the last thing, can you take your time talking about your new book and also your podcast?
Yeah, definitely. So the book is Pivot and Go. It's out on Amazon pre-sale. It'll be out actually late June. in all bookstores everywhere. Pivot and Go, and it's basically on how to make mindset pivots, these small perspective changes, how to look at something in a slightly different perspective, which I call the mindset pivot, that will change your entire perspective on life. And I do it told through stories of NBA players, through my own experiences, and on 29 days. I have it on 29 days, 29 chapters, a different mindset pivot each chapter each day. And 28 is the number that's said to make a habit. Then on the 29th day, it's your decision if you want to make that habit a lifestyle. So much more than a habit, you make it a lifestyle.
Yes.
So super fun process writing the book, and it's been getting a lot of great reviews so far on pre-sale and the people that have read it before, and I'll keep writing. I'm definitely going to keep writing.
Yes.
So hopefully everybody listening can go check it out. Amazon pre-sale. That'd be amazing. And the podcast is the 1% podcast. It's the 1%er, which is based on pouring into yourself 1% daily to pour into others. So I bring on primarily NBA players and high-level performers that are what we call the 1%. Not necessarily, you don't have to be like the elite of the elite, but you got to be somebody that's pouring into yourself, so we can take this knowledge from you, whether it's in nutrition, whether it's in mindset, and share it with the rest of the world. The 1% podcast.
I love it. It's a great podcast.
Yep. And thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Thank you. And Instagram at David Nurse NBA. That's where I do a lot of stuff too.
Thank you. Yes, I love it. I love tuning into your Instagram every day. The podcast is awesome. Very, very easy to listen to. I've had a really hard time listening to other podcasts because they just dry me out, man. But I love listening to yours. So informative. I love how it's very conversational. So it's not like I'm listening to like a CNN interview or anything like that. And just the the knowledge you guys drop, it's insane. Like, it is insane. So thank you, seriously.
Smart, you're the best. I need you to be my agent. You gotta be my agent and my personal motivator.
I got you, David. Listen, we are besties now, okay?
There it is.
So hit me up anytime. I'm definitely going to be hitting you up. I would love to be mentored by you whenever you have the time. Because there's a lot of things that I want to do that I need help with, or some guidance, advice.
Sure.
And we can definitely talk about that whenever you have time. I appreciate you making time for me tonight and for the podcast. I really hope that the audience gets the most out of it, and I know that they will, because you helped me out a lot. So I definitely know it's going to help so many other people.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing, the light of Christ that you are, and you're going to build this. Like, you're so authentic, you're so genuine that it's just like your platform is going to continue to build. Just keep being you. Don't get stuck up in what the world says success has to be, and you're going to grow this thing to some great, great heights.
Thank you, David. Thank you. You being on here is definitely going to help a lot, man. And it definitely got me on my shit. I'm not going to lie. When you emailed me back, I got back here and did all the things that I've been saying I was going to do. So
there you go.
Like, seriously, man, thank you. And I just, like I said, appreciate you being genuine and you coming on here tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
No problem.